Hello folks, I'm Jim Hansen, and the elephant in the room today is the use of police force in Ferguson, Missouri. A young man was killed by a police officer there, and since then, everything has gone crazy. There are a lot of opinions being bandied about as to whether or not the killing was justified. Let's deal with facts about the use of lethal force by law enforcement, or anyone for that matter. Why should you listen to me? Well, I'm a former Special Forces Weapons NCO. I served on a door-kicking team, and I've instructed both U.S. and foreign military and law enforcement units about the use of lethal force, the laws of land warfare, and rules of engagement. And the first fact I'm going to lay on you is going to make some people pretty mad. The only person whose opinion of Mike Brown matters is Officer Darrell Wilson's. Everybody else's is irrelevant. The reason for that is the governing factor for whether or not Officer Wilson was justified in shooting and killing Mike Brown is whether or not he believed that Mike Brown presented a threat to himself or the lives of others. There is no requirement for the officer to escalate through nonviolent means if the situation dictates that the threat is that imminent. They can go from zero to lethal force immediately. The situation is often described as an unarmed teenager shot in cold blood. First of all, Mike Brown was 18 years old. That's a teenager. It's also an adult. He was 6'4" and almost 300 pounds. While he may have been unarmed as in not having a gun, he was the size of a defensive lineman. And in a grappling contest with a regular-sized cop, if he gets his hands on the police officer's weapon, the situation changes from unarmed teenager to armed felon who could kill the officer with his own weapon. A lot has been made of the fact that the officer may not have known that Brown had previously that day committed a strong-arm robbery. Whether he knew or not, Brown knew. During that robbery, he snatched the store clerk by the neck and tossed him aside like a rag doll, so he had shown violent propensities during the same day. No one wants to see an 18-year-old killed, but no one also should want to see a police officer acting properly subjected to a witch hunt because of racial hysteria. Now we need to let a legitimate inquiry determine whether or not this shooting was justified. It's horrific no matter what the answer is, but the determination as to whether or not Officer Wilson should face charges is based on one simple thing. Did he believe that Mike Brown was a threat? If so, he committed no crime. I'm Jim Hansen, and let's hope that elephant in the room doesn't lead to any more unnecessary violence.
And the men who hold high places must be the ones who start to mold a new reality closer to the heart.